Welcome to another episode of New to Me. I'm Stephen Michael Zach. And today we are talking about the GVM 5600 Kelvin. This is a ring light. This is a cell phone tripod cage holder. It really does a lot of different things. I'm very excited about this product. So let's just jump over to the workbench and check it out. So here we are with the Great Video Maker. This is their ring light cell phone camera holder. And first off, you'll note it is packed very well. You get your instructions and all that fun stuff. Go ahead and take this out of the box. Now the first thing you'll notice, this thing is made of some solid plastic. I wouldn't throw it down because it would probably crack, but it is fairly solid. You do have a 1/4 20 there, a 1/4 20 on this side, and a 1/4 20 on the bottom. Up top you have two cold shoes. They seem pretty solid, and it's got some nice handle grips, very smooth. Around the back we do have the dimming knob, and it is actually a very nice dimming knob. You got one of these clicky click, ooh, and it actually held a current for a split second. That's a little scary. It actually has a little clicky button. Then you do get a DC in, so you can take like a power bank and mount it up top, and that would pretty much take care of it. However, you do also get two NPF batteries, and this only runs off one, so you can use a second to give it extra charge. And of course, you've got your toolless setup. You've got a little screw here, and then inside you've got another one. And you do have this very interesting button on the back, and this is a Wi-Fi pairing button, a Bluetooth pairing button. So this thing does have Bluetooth. Basically, you hold this down, you go into your Bluetooth settings, you do a search, you select the GVM, and then you hit OK, and then once it's paired, you let go. It does work very well. However, there is no app for it that I could find yet. And I'm speculating that maybe if you put a camera up here, your phone would either control your camera, or I would actually probably control the light, the dimming up and down the light. Not really sure why this thing has Bluetooth, but there you go. And of course, you get the diffusion plates on the front. And let's take a look at what it comes with. Of course, it does come with a charger, which I always love. And what I love even more is that it comes with a battery. I cannot say how happy I am that this came with its own battery. And of course, you get one of these little cell phone thingies. And this one is pretty good, but it is very, one of these cheap cell phone things. This one is very tight, very good, but that's going to wear out after a while. And these aren't my favorite because I don't like to take the case off my cell phone. So I'm actually going to be replacing it with the Ulanzi ST03. This is one of my absolute favorite cell phone holders. It's just fantastic. And you just kind of twist and make it the size you need it. Anyway, we're going to put that aside, and we're going to look at the final thing, which is the tungsten plates here, which are very cool. They are very thin but very rugged. Now, one thing you will notice is that the diffusion is a lot thicker than the diffusion on this. So I'm speculating when this is on, this is going to be super, super bright in my face. I'm going to have to turn it down to almost nothing. So let's go ahead and put all this together. First thing we're going to do is we're going to smack in the battery, and it doesn't really matter what side you mount it on, I don't think. Nope, doesn't matter what side you mount it on. And let's go ahead and, what I really love about this is that it's toolless, so you don't need any tools. You can just go ahead and spin that off, lift this up. You've got another one underneath, which is great. I love it when these come with these handles. Now again, I'm not going to use theirs. I'm going to use my own cell phone holder here. So we're just going to screw that into the bottom like so. Now, one thing I like to do is I like to use a tool. I know it's stepless and you don't need a tool, but this is just going to make sure that it's not going to spin around. And let's go ahead and put this back in. And I find this very easy to use. I didn't even need to really look at the instructions except to find out what this button did, which was the Bluetooth pairing button. All in all, very quick, very fast, very quick. There we go. And now I'll just add my cell phone. And the thing about this holder is this holder doesn't get it right underneath. So I can actually just go ahead and pop this in. And I can spin this around if I want this really underneath, but this is fine for me. It's not like this is a wide angle lens. So there we go. We are all set up. And of course, when I turn this on, the further away you get, the more spread out it is. The closer you get, the more spotty it is. Now you will notice that it does have a very heavy green tint, and that is kind of disappointing, considering that GVM recently has been doing really well with their color science. Like their 80 watt was really nice, but this is definitely has a green tint to it. But all in all, very, very rugged. I mean, I wouldn't drop it or throw it down, but this would survive some falls. Of course, you got the clicky button, and of course, you can go from 1 all the way to 10, which is very cool. And that's it. Liking the unit. Let's go ahead and slap this up top. And the shoe seems to fit. The shoe seems to work very nicely. Put a microphone or a monitor up top. I can actually see myself using this with either my Osmo Action Cam or even the Osmo Pocket 4K. I could definitely see myself putting that on, although the gimbal, I'll lock the gimbal might pick up your hands, but definitely with an Action Cam and then mounting my cell phone to the top, that would be very, very cool, very, very useful in a kind of like run and gun situation. But all in all, this thing's pretty light, pretty nice. And that's it. That is the GVM ring light. Let's go ahead and take some of this stuff off. And let's go ahead and slap on the tungsten plates, because that I think is going to be, that is going to be the most interesting thing here. Now, one thing I will say is this is almost impossible to take off with your hands. You've got to like get your nails in the groove. So I've had to use this tool. Now the problem is, and I'll show you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, is that the plastic is already starting to wear away because I'm using this tool. It's already denting the plastic. And that's just unfortunate. I don't know if you can see this, but the plastic is already right here starting to chip and scratch because I have to use this tool. I really wish these came off better. And again, I'm already starting to see scratches on this. These scratch very easily. And let's go ahead and pop this on. And again, it is not very easy to pop that on. And turn it on. And the tungsten color is much better. And actually, I think with the tungsten, it's much brighter because there's no diffusion on the tungsten. It's just a tungsten color. Now, I wish you could kind of do both. And I wish you could put this, like have the diffusion on and then put the tungsten on so that you get that level of diffusion. But unfortunately, you can only have one of these on. And that's a little bit of downside. So let's go ahead and take a look at my cell phone, and I will show you both the diffusion and the tungsten plate and just how super bright this thing gets. Okay, so here we are. We have the white diffusion plates on now. I am looking a little bit orange because I did not change the lighting in my studio. I shoot in tungsten. But let's go ahead and flip this on. And as you can see at full power, this thing is pretty darn bright. Now there is diffusion here, so I can knock this back to about there. And that's pretty good. That's about maybe 5-10%, about 5%. Not too bad. Now, one thing you will notice, and I will say, there is absolutely no diffusion on these. These are the cheap CN160 kind of tungsten-y things. There's no diffusion whatsoever. But this white diffusion is doing a fantastic job. Now, these do seem like they're loosening up a bit, but I still need a tool to pop them off, and I'm still afraid I'm going to crack these. So let's go ahead and pop on the tungsten, and let's see how that looks. Oh, also I've switched to my Action Cam because it is a huge ordeal in order for me to get footage off my cell phone. So we're just going with the Action Cam footage. Okay, so here we are at 3500 Kelvin, and I'm looking less like an Oompa Loompa, still on the Osmo Action Cam, and let's go ahead and power this on. And as you can see at full blast, this thing is blinding because there is absolutely no diffusion. Even at half power, it's bad. It's just not bad, but it's super bright. But as you can see, this is at 1%, and that is all that I need because there is no diffusion on these gels. But very, very cool. It works very nicely. You could see how bright this thing is. So that's it. Yeah, very, very interesting. I really wish that I could throw some diffusion on this, and I probably can wrap some diffusion paper around it, or put some kind of like diffusion inside, like tape some diffusion on inside, and then put this thing on. But there's zero diffusion. But all in all, very, very, very cool. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, on the whole, this thing is pretty darn good. It is very, very useful. Now, it is made of plastic, and but it's very strong plastic. I could definitely see myself slapping my action cam or my cell phone on here, or even a small camera. I'm pretty sure my GH4 would fit on here, or a Sony camera would even fit on here. And I definitely see myself walking around and kind of filming things. I could definitely do this for run and gun filmmaking. If I'm doing cell phone filmmaking, this is actually very, very nice. And for 70 bucks, it is made fairly well. Now, it does have removable plates, which is nice. I'll get to that in a minute, but it does first off come with a battery, which is fantastic. So you do have battery. You have the option to add another battery, and you also have a DC in, so plenty of battery ports. The cold shoes are pretty solid up top, although be it plastic. The knob back here is really, really nice and turns nice. You do have this very clicky but very solid on-off button. And of course, the way you attach the plate, which is all toolless with these little handles that pop up, is great. Now, you will need a flathead screwdriver to tighten this, just to make sure that it doesn't come loose. But all in all, very nice. It's got plenty of mounting ports, which is very, very cool. All very, very solid. Now, I could drop this a couple times. It may not break, but it is pretty robust because it's plastic. Very cool. Really, really, really like this. I could definitely see. Now, what would I use this for? I could see this for if I'm doing interviews, if I'm recording auditions, or self-taping for an agent. I can definitely see myself using these. Walking around in a convention room floor, I could slide this in my computer bag, slide it out, and just film stuff. And it will give you a bit of stabilization in your shots too. So all in all, very cool. Very, very nice. Now, it does come with a battery, a charger, comes with a cell phone holder, although I replaced mine. Now, let's talk about the cons, and there aren't that many. You do have this very odd Bluetoothing button, and I did manage to Bluetooth it to my phone. However, I could not find an app to use this with or figure out what the Bluetooth does on this. So if you know what the Bluetooth does in this, can you drop it in? Just feel free to drop it in the notes below. It's probably for something they haven't come up with yet or isn't out yet. But there is Bluetooth on this, which is very, very cool. Now, talking about some of the cons, these things are very difficult to get off. You will need a tool, and I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this is starting to just tear away really fast, because there's just absolutely no way to get your fingers in here and get them on. So it's great that they stay on, but they're very difficult to get off. One thing I do wish also is I wish you could pop the diffusion on and then pop the gel on so you get that diffusion, because this tungsten gel is not diffused at all. So when the light hits you, it is super bright. But of course, you do have the option to turn it way down. So that kind of corrects that problem. But these are going to get very, very scratched. It's made of that very scratchy material. These are just, they're solid, but I just wish they were easier to get on and off. There was some kind of maybe like slide in or locking system, and I wish you were able to use both. But all in all, not too bad. Pretty darn solid. Very excited about this. So that's what I think of this product, but I want to know what you thought. So if you have any questions or comments, you can drop them in the notes below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to mash that bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is new to me.